Thank you, Mr President. I also rise to speak in favour of the Statutes Amendment Personal Mobilities Devices Bill of 2024, and might I also congratulate the Honourable Frank Pengello on his special birthday today. The Greens have been long supporters of e-scooters and e-skateboards as an important mode of transport in our state. We recognise in particular that we are in the middle of a climate emergency, and one of the ways that we can reduce carbon emissions here in our state is reducing the number of cars on the road. And so we do see e-scooters as playing an important role in that regard. We're pleased to see that the government has taken up the recommendation of the Select Committee on Public and Active Transport that private-owned e-scooters should be permitted by legislation. E-scooters are a clean, green transport alternative. They reduce congestion by getting cars off the road, and they allow users flexibility to get to where they need to go in an efficient way. And they're increasingly being relied upon in many cities around the world as a form of travel. We have seen e-scooters for hire on the streets of Adelaide over many years. Indeed, when I was on Adelaide City Council, there was a proposal that came to the council for us to undertake a trial ahead of the 2018 Fringe Festival, and that trial ended up being extended over many years. And so I do welcome the fact that we're now going to see a consistent approach being taken. One of the problems that we've had here in South Australia around e-scooters is an inconsistency within the law. Whilst we have had a number of local councils that have allowed people to hire e-scooter devices, individual use has been prohibited, despite the fact that you can actually purchase an e-scooter from a store. You can only use it on your own private property. This has created, I think, a lot of confusion for law-abiding South Australians who are seeking to do the right thing, but make the assumption that if you can buy an e-scooter in South Australia, then surely you should be able to use it on the streets of our state. So finally that's been cleaned up. One of the things that was really interesting for me, having the benefit of being on the Public and Active Transport inquiry, was we heard evidence that allowing individual ownership of e-scooters does actually promote safety outcomes. And that's because if you're hiring an e-scooter and you're participating in the kind of festival environment of a trial, and it's not your own device, then you might be more likely to engage in risky behaviour. But if you're actually using your own device that you're more familiar with and you have purchased, you're more likely to take care of it. You're also more likely to know how it works, and that reduces some of the risks associated with this. But it's important to note that the issues that honourable members have raised regarding pedestrian safety, I think, are very important and did need further consideration from the government. And indeed, one of the issues that we heard quite a bit of evidence around was this issue of insurance. And I do just want to refer members to some of the recommendations from the Public and Active Transport Inquiry. I'll refer and read some of the recommendations out for the benefit of government members who I know have not read the inquiry, all of the inquiry recommendations. Some have. I wish the Transport Minister had, Mr President, because we might have addressed some of the issues that have come to us with this bill. But recommendation 8 is particularly important and relevant, I think. The committee recommends the matter of compulsory third-party insurance for private and commercial e-scooters be referred to the Attorney-General for review and advice. And, well, interesting question. The Honourable Mr Frank Pengello asked whether this happened. I'll be asking that question of the government in the committee stage. They've had 2 years to undertake that work, so I'm assuming that that's happened. The committee recommends that the state government resolves A, the classification ambiguity regarding commercial and private use of e-scooters, specifically whether they can be regarded as motorised vehicles or as a bicycle, and B, outstanding matters regarding high insurance excess amounts, easily voided insurance policies, and the power of e-scooter providers in deciding the outcome of insurance claims. The committee also found, one of its findings was that there is the potential for increased use of e-scooters in metropolitan Adelaide, but liability and accountability are highly complex matters that go beyond what this committee can achieve, and legislation and policy surrounding the use of small personal e-mobility vehicles, not just e-scooters, should be a matter of ongoing review by the state government in collaboration with stakeholders. Now, I don't know what the outcome was of those recommendations, Mr President. Indeed, I reached out to the Minister, the Honourable Tom Koutsantonis, when this report was handed down back in February of last year. I reached out again, requesting the opportunity to meet with him so that I could draw his attention to some of these recommendations. Sadly, the opportunity never arose. And so I'm not sure whether or not these issues have actually been addressed by the government. Some of the other issues that came to light are worth highlighting for the benefit of this debate. The committee recommends the state government, in collaboration with local government and other stakeholders, legislates to enable the use of private-owned e-scooters and other personal mobility devices in public spaces in line with other jurisdictions. Tick. That's good. Considers adopting definitions of e-scooters and e-personal mobility devices consistent with the national model law. Considers ways that e-scooters and e-personal mobility devices can be safely moved into bike lanes on roads without compromising the safety of cyclists or device users. Reviews speed limits of e-scooters and other personal mobility devices on footpaths to better protect the safety of pedestrians, and gathers data on the use of private and commercial e-scooters and other personal e-mobility devices, including compliance and injuries to pedestrians and riders. So, look, I do welcome the fact that the government has moved on some of these matters, but there are some issues here that they don't appear to have addressed and that I intend to raise during the committee stage. I do make it clear that I am supportive of the bill. I welcome this reform, and in terms of cleaning up some of the ambiguity that we have here in South Australia. But I am concerned that the issues around liability have not been addressed. And I do wonder whether or not the government has undertaken the level of consultation that was envisaged by the parliamentary inquiry when we made those recommendations. Given that, and in the absence of any approach being made by the government to the contrary, I will support the amendments from the Honourable Ben Hood, because I think we do need to have some sort of model in place to address some of the insurance implications. But I look forward to some of the discussion that unfolds during the committee stage, and as I say, we'll have a few questions to ask of the government around how some of the issues have been addressed.